You know that feeling of sheer pride when you make an extra payment on your mortgage? That little hit of dopamine, knowing you are one step closer to owning your home completely free and clear. It is the ultimate Gen X financial dream, the finish line of the middle-class rat race. But what if I told you that every extra dollar you put into your mortgage is actually destroying your wealth? And I don't mean by a little bit, I mean by hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Most financial gurus will tell you that being debt-free is the ultimate financial security. They tell you to cut up your credit cards, eat rice and beans, and throw every spare cent at your house. But here's the thing they are completely missing. A paid-off house is not a financial fortress. It is actually a massive liquidity trap, and it is exactly what the banking system hopes you fall into. Today, I am going to show you the real math behind the paid-off house illusion. I am going to explain why locking your money inside drywall is the most dangerous thing you can do in your 40s. And I will show you how inflation is secretly punishing the people who pay off their debt early. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time looking at the mathematical reality behind the financial advice we all grew up with. If you want to understand how the wealthy actually manage their debt instead of just following outdated advice, hit that subscribe button.
Now, let's start with a scenario. I want you to picture two neighbors, David and Sarah. They are both 45 years old. They live in identical houses in the same neighborhood. In 2021, they both refinanced into a $400,000 mortgage on a 30-year fixed rate at 3.5%. Their required monthly principal and interest payment is exactly $1,796. But David and Sarah have completely different financial philosophies. David hates debt. The idea of owing the bank money keeps him up at night. He remembers the 2008 housing crash vividly. He remembers his friends losing everything. So David decides he is going to crush this mortgage. He has a good salary, so he squeezes his budget. Every month, David sends the bank his standard $1,796 plus an extra $1,500 directly toward the principal. He is paying nearly $3,300 a month to the bank, and he feels like an absolute financial genius. Now look at Sarah. Sarah also has an extra $1,500 of disposable income every month. But Sarah looks at her 3.5% mortgage statement and smiles. She sets up an automatic transfer. Every month, she pays the exact minimum of $1,796 to the bank, not a penny more. And she takes her extra $1,500 and automatically invests it into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. David's friends praise him at neighborhood barbecues. They talk about how responsible he is. Nobody talks to Sarah about her index funds because honestly, it sounds boring.
Fast forward 5 years. Let's look at the numbers, because this is where the divergence begins. David has poured an extra $90,000 into his mortgage. His loan balance is dropping like a stone. He feels incredibly secure. His equity is huge. But his bank account? It's relatively light. Sarah, meanwhile, has been diligently putting $1,500 a month into the market. Assuming a conservative historical average of 9% return, her portfolio is now sitting at around $113,000. David looks at Sarah and thinks she's taking on too much risk. The stock market goes up and down, he says, but my house is a guaranteed return. My house is safe. But is it? Let's talk about what safety actually means in the real world.
Let's say in year 6, there's a massive economic downturn. Both David and Sarah lose their high-paying corporate jobs. This is the exact scenario David was preparing for. He paid down his mortgage to be safe. But here is the brutal reality of the banking system. The bank does not care that David paid an extra $90,000. The bank only cares about one thing. Are you going to make next month's payment of $1,796? David has almost no liquid cash because he buried it all in his backyard, essentially. He can't go to the grocery store and chip off a piece of his granite countertop to buy food. He can't pay his electricity bill with his equity. Equity is an illusion until you sell or borrow against it. And guess what? Banks do not like giving home equity loans to unemployed people. So David, the guy who did everything right, is now terrified of foreclosure despite having hundreds of thousands in equity. Now look at Sarah. Sarah also lost her job, but Sarah has $113,000 in a highly liquid brokerage account. If she needs to, she can easily pull out her $1,796 monthly mortgage payment from her investments. In fact, Sarah could sit on her couch for 5 straight years without working, just pulling from her portfolio to pay the mortgage. Sarah isn't stressed at all. She is perfectly safe. David is in a panic. The irony is that the person who tried to eliminate risk actually concentrated all of their risk into an illiquid asset. This is what the ultra-wealthy understand that the middle class does not. Liquidity is safety. Drywall is not. But let's say they don't lose their jobs. Let's say they both keep working and we fast forward to year 13. This is the climax of David's entire financial plan. Month 156, David makes his final payment. He owns his house free and clear. He pops a bottle of champagne. He has zero debt. He is officially winning the American dream. But let's look at Sarah. After 13 years of investing that exact same $1,500 a month at a 9% return, Sarah's investment portfolio has grown to approximately $442,000. The magic of compounding has completely taken over. Her money is making more money than her contributions. Now, Sarah still owes about $276,000 on her mortgage. If Sarah wanted to, she could log into her brokerage account tomorrow, sell some index funds, and pay off her entire mortgage in one click. And if she did that, she would own her house free and clear, exactly like David, but she would still have $166,000 left over in cash. Let that sink in. David and Sarah spent the exact same amount of money every single month for 13 years, but Sarah is $166,000 richer. And that's just the baseline math. The gap actually gets much, much worse for David as time goes on. Let me explain why. David thinks that now that he has no mortgage, he can take that $3,300 a month and start investing it. He thinks he will catch up to Sarah. But he won't. He will never catch up. Because David interrupted compounding. He starved his investment accounts during his prime earning years. By the time we reach year 20, while David has been playing catch-up for 7 years, his portfolio sits at around $384,000. Sarah, who never stopped investing and still has manageable mortgage debt against a much larger pile of liquid assets, is sitting on a net financial position close to $820,000. The gap between them has ballooned to nearly $440,000. Same income, same house, same exact out-of-pocket expenses every single month. Nearly $500,000 in the difference. This is the silent wealth killer that Gen X falls for over and over again. You have been deeply traumatized by the financial crisis of 2008. You associate leverage with losing your home. But what happened in 2008 wasn't caused by standard fixed-rate mortgages. It was caused by adjustable rates and predatory lending. When you lock in a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at a low interest rate, you have acquired the ultimate financial weapon. And you are completely wasting it if you pay it off early. Let's talk about the silent partner in this equation: inflation. Inflation is usually the enemy of the consumer. It makes your groceries cost more, it makes cars impossible to afford. But inflation is the absolute best friend of fixed-rate debt. Think about what a $1,796 mortgage payment felt like 20 years ago. It was a fortune. Today, $1,800 barely rents a one-bedroom apartment in most major cities. In another 10 years, $1,800 will feel like pocket change. When you hold a 30-year fixed mortgage, you are paying the bank back with future dollars that are worth significantly less. If inflation is running at 4% and your mortgage is at 3.5%, your real interest rate is actually negative. The bank is literally losing purchasing power by lending you that money. You are essentially legally stealing from the bank. It is the only time the middle class gets to arbitrage the financial system. And what do most people do with this incredible, once-in-a-lifetime mathematical advantage? They voluntarily hand it right back to the bank by paying extra principal. The bank loves you for this. When you prepay a low-interest mortgage, you are doing the bank a massive favor. You are giving them their cash back early so they can turn around and lend it to someone else at 7%.
Stop doing favors for your bank. They are not doing favors for you.
Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You're saying, Nick, peace of mind is worth more than math. You're saying you can't put a price on the feeling of sleeping in a home that nobody can take away from you. And you are right. Psychology is a huge part of personal finance. But I need you to seriously examine where that peace of mind is coming from. Is it coming from a place of actual financial security? Or is it coming from financial illiteracy? Let me ask you a very direct question. Who sleeps better at night? The guy with a paid-off house and $10,000 in his checking account? Or the woman with a $250,000 mortgage and $800,000 in liquid, globally diversified index funds? If you genuinely understand the math, the woman with the mortgage sleeps infinitely better. If the economy collapses, she has options. She can pivot, she can relocate, she can weather a 3-year job loss. The guy with a paid-off house is trapped. He is house rich and cash poor. The moment his property taxes spike or his roof caves in, his peace of mind evaporates instantly. And let's talk about property taxes for a second, because this is the dirty little secret of the paid-off house. You never actually own your house free and clear. You just stop paying the bank. You still have to pay the government every single year, forever. If your property taxes are $8,000 a year, you essentially still have a $660 a month payment for the rest of your life. And unlike a fixed mortgage, property taxes go up every year. They never stop inflating. So if you are dumping all your cash into your equity just to eliminate a payment, you are missing the bigger picture. You will always have a payment. The only question is whether you have the liquid capital to comfortably afford it. This is why financial advisors who cater to high net worth individuals rarely tell them to pay off their primary residence. Wealthy people treat a mortgage as cheap leverage. They use the bank's money to lock down their housing costs, and they keep their own money highly liquid, deployed in assets that outpace inflation and compound daily. When you pay off your house early, you are making an emotional decision, not a mathematical one. You are sacrificing massive future wealth simply to silence an anxiety that you have inherited from a previous generation. Your parents paid off their house early because in the 1980s, mortgage rates were 14%. At 14% interest, paying off debt early is absolutely the smartest mathematical move you can make. But we are not in the 1980s anymore. Applying 1980s financial strategy to a 2021 interest rate is financial suicide. You have to play the game on the board that is in front of you. If your mortgage rate starts with a 2, a 3, or a 4, that debt is an asset. Treat it like one. Keep the cheap money. Let inflation erode the value of the debt over the next 20 years and redirect every extra dollar you have into assets that will actually pay you to own them. Because at the end of the day, you cannot retire on equity. You can only retire on cash flow. And a paid-off house generates exactly $0 in cash flow. Stop trying to build a fortress out of drywall. Build it out of compounding capital. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it with that one friend who is obsessed with paying off their mortgage. They might hate you for it initially, but their retirement account will thank you in 15 years. Hit the like button, subscribe for more real math breakdowns, and I will see you in the next one.